Hey guys, Sax here. Today is day one of the second act of Season of Daybreak. And with that, we have two Arc characters actually that showed up in game. And so I want to talk about them briefly here and just kind of give you my top level thoughts on them. So we have both Rossi-11, which is a character that I believe was data mined. I don't really delve into the data mining stuff too much, but Rossi-11, he is an Arc Warlock character, an EXO, obviously you can tell by the name. And Rossi actually has the relic Marionette, which immediately kind of gives me an idea of what this character would be, which is a puppet master on the field. Rossi has barrier, overshield, and confinement. Those are like the key traits to his character. You can see here the passive is Ionic Protection. When any of Rossi-11's abilities hit targets, they grant 1 point of passive energy up to a maximum of 9. So if you get 9 hits of your abilities across a battlefield, that's going to give you this. What happens when you have passive energy? This passive energy is converted into an overshield at a 1:40 ratio for every 2 seconds, or once every 2 seconds for 6 seconds, meaning every 2 seconds it will clock and check if you have more passive energy and pull that on you. It seems like you can get a maximum of 360 overshield. So that's pretty effective. So let's talk about some of the abilities real quick. Arc Cage is one of the signature abilities. So Rossi-11 throws an arc orb forward. Once it hit combatants or a terrain, it'll pull in and inflict confined on nearby combatants. Then it'll generate an arc cage that blocks incoming projectiles. So then after that, we can throw out Thread Flow. Rossi-11 launches an arc thread, dealing damage to combatants, and it hits and granting Rossi an overshield. So, and then there's some furthering here. When you go through the talent tree here, Arc Ripple, the Thread Flow, when it passes through the Arc Cage, it'll activate Arc Cage and trigger like an Arc Explosion. And then once you go down here, Liberating Melody, casting Thread Flow grants allies within a 10-meter radius an overshield equal to 50% of Rossi-11's overshield. Meaning that if you had a high level overshield on yourself, up to 360, you could grant 180 overshield to any teammates that are around you within a 10-meter radius. So it seems like the gameplay loop is find a big group of enemies, find a way to confine them, pull the enemies together, cast out the Thread Flow so that you can tag all those enemies, and then every 2 seconds it's going to check and see how much passive energy you have to grant you an overshield, grant those around you. And finally, when you've pulled everyone together, here's the next thing you can do. Send out your photoelectric gate, which is Rossi-11 builds a photoelectric gate in front of them that blocks damage that is incoming using super again. So you hit your super button again, it will launch the gate forward, which deals damage to combatants. So you can kind of see this is like a field sweeping ability. You can shoot through this. They can't shoot through this, so that's a good way to protect yourself. But then you also have this way that you can kind of sweep up and clean up any enemies that are still lingering. Looking at our relic traits, pulling strings, that's going to allow Thread Flow to over penetrate. Ion Accumulator, when your super takes damage, it'll generate 1 passive energy for Rossi-11. So if you're getting fired at and you really are in dire straits, cast your super, block a lot of damage, and then you're going to get every 1 second you can get 1 passive energy, which then can be directly converted into an overshield. And finally, Deep Sea Breathing, when Rossi-11's health is below 50%, gaining an overshield will also heal them for 50% of the overshield's health. Meaning, if you have a lot of passive energy and you're in real bad shape, it's a really good idea. Cast that super, get that super up, get more passive energy so that when that 2-second timer hits, you can heal and then you can immediately start your actual healing, not just your overshield from there as well. So seems like a very interesting crowd control type player. It's not a boss DPS character by any means. You know, when we look at the weapons that it has available to it, it has piercing and rapid fire in a bow and crossbow. So this is just a complete bow character. This is a defense character. Medium range looking. It's a 4-star, falls into that same Yumiko band, and it's just something that you're gonna get passively as you're getting Helhest. So let's go ahead and talk about Helhest now. So Helhest is an Arc support long range character with a bow, linear fusion rifle, double precision. So falling firmly into the Tantu in the Yumiko range when it comes to Shinka control. Let's look at the relic abilities here. We have the passive of data conversion. When boosting/healing drones buff or heal allies, they also grant the assisted calculation effect for 20 seconds. Helhest herself will always have the assisted calculation effect. You might say, Sax, what is assisted calculation? Let's find out. Assisted calculation says dealing damage to combatants also inflicts data analysis for 12 seconds. Data analysis. When afflicted combatants are defeated, they drop 1 data fragment, which can stay on the ground for up to 60 seconds. Once data fragments are generated, they will be automatically absorbed by the nearest boosting drone healing drone, then uploaded to Helhest's prosthetic to power her encrypted network. The efficiency at which encrypted network absorbs data fragments falls as the number of team members increases to a minimum of 33%. The encrypted network can store up to 48 data fragments. When the encrypted network has accumulated more than 24 data fragments, Helhest can interact with the boosting or healing drones and consume 24 data fragments to provide allies within 70-meter radius 1 heavy brick. So that was a lot. So let's talk about this from the top. So basically, as you're dealing damage, those combatants are going to drop data fragments. When you collect at least 24 data fragments, those data fragments can then be converted by the Helhest player into heavy ammo for any player within a 70-meter radius. So that's going to give 1 heavy brick. I wouldn't say that is completely game changing, but it's nice to have some sort of specific way when we're in a very RNG heavy situation when it comes to getting heavy ammo for your character. So let's talk about what these drones look like. First, we have the rapid deployment signature ability. Here deploys a drone in front of Helhest. Hold the ability button to deploy it at the reticle's position and cast the ability again to increase the drone's level. Next, we have Salvo. Activates Helhest's prosthetic to fire a volley at the reticle position and gain the salvo effect, letting shots to combatants or terrain trigger additional volleys. So you can kind of choose where you want to place that. And so as you put drones up, you can see in this example footage, Helhest drops a drone on either side flanking the enemies and then chooses in the middle. It's kind of interesting that you can kind of choose where you want them to attack, where you want them to focus. And finally, we have the super, which is full firepower. It's a 120-second super, so full 2 minutes to get that up. Teleports the super drone to the battlefield. The drone will follow Helhest and increase the damage bonus or healing effects on the boosting drone / healing drone on the field. The super drone will continuously attack combatants and heal allies. So it's exactly what it sounds like. They were like, we're just gonna straight up call it a super drone because that's exactly what it is. Next, we have Relic Trait 1 says short frequency activation. Deploying or upgrading a drone increases the damage bonus or healing potency of the boosting drone / healing drone on the field by 200% for 4 seconds. Repeatedly applying this effect extends the duration. This trait does not affect the super drone or does not work when super drone is present. This just continues to work. So you can continue to boost it in that capacity. Next, we have Relic Trait 2, Breakneck Collaborator. Allies, including Helhest herself, so you can heal yourself, you can boost yourself, will gain 40% movement speed while within range of a boosting or healing drone. This effect lasts for 8 seconds after leaving the drone's range. Relic Trait 3 here, highlights. Releasing the super drone upgrades the boosting or healing drone present to the max level and refreshes their duration. Additionally, any boosting or healing drone deployed during this period will be upgraded as well. So that Relic Trait 3, it's kind of like a low tide raising all ships. You're gonna send that super drone out and it's gonna say, come on guys, we're in this fight together. Bring those other drones up. Finally, we have Overclocked Shot. So this is the weapon mastery here. Casting Salvo grants the overclocked shot effect for 6 seconds. Overclocked shots are shortened bow draw time and linear fusion charge time by 50%. They also deal an extra 15% arc damage. They also grant a weak spot lock on. So that's like a crit point lock on. This does not take effect against Lightbearers, and you can see it kind of ramps up over the weapon mastery tier. So guys, the 2 new characters that came out, they're very specific. And so they're going to take some time. And I know for sure for me, it's going to take some time to get used to them. I know some people have been doing some damage testing. One of the questions that people ask a lot and have asked me in chat already a lot is like, hey, should I use Royal Contravene or should I go for Trinity Ghoul? Now, realistically, I've not unlocked Trinity Ghoul. I haven't seen any Trinity Ghoul playtime yet. I'm sure there's people who've been playing with it, testing it, and doing all this stuff. My gut says that Royal Contravene is going to be the direction you want to head. Now, there are some really good rolls here on this Yoshimoto. This is the Mythic Bow. It is an arc bow, so it plays into a lot of the kit synergies that we have specifically on Helhest when it talks about boosting up arc damage for the weapon mastery. But you come in here, you look at the traits and perks. Annihilation, Ensured Yields. Ensured Yields seems absolutely insane for a bow. Final blows grant the next magazine 60% damage after reloading. However, if no final blows were made with the previous magazine, which a bow only has a magazine of 1 shot. So if you kill, that next shot's gonna have 60% damage. And if you don't kill, you're going to get up to 35% damage based on the number of hits landed. So you continually land shots on a larger enemy. That's going to continually ramp that up to that 35% mark. And then once you get a kill, the next shot after that's going to have 60% damage after reloading. You can see the perk upgrade if you get an exotic mod on there, which you can see I actually have on this one here. This weapon's reload time is shortened by 30% when it has not landed a final blow. So you're kind of getting almost like a rapid hit type effect for ensured yield through this as well. So I would like to get, along with this, the annihilation perk, which is the weapon deals increased damage based on how low the target's health is, up to 36%. So as you're ticking away with it, you are ramping up from ensured yields if you have not killed a certain enemy. And as it's getting lower, you're doing more damage on the front end. So first call on damage perk, second call is damage perk, and you're seeing that over time. Let me know what you think about these characters. I haven't played too much with them at this point. I played with Helhest quite a bit earlier. Let me know what you're thinking. Are you interested in these new characters? If so, which one interests you more? Do you vibe with these playstyles at all? If not, what are you looking for? What are you hoping for in the next round? I mean, it's only going to be 4 weeks from now. Are you hoping they bring back some characters that they've already taken away? Or are you looking for something completely fresh? So guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope you're enjoying your time in Destiny Rising and this Act 2 of Season of Daybreak. And until next time, be blessed, y'all.